Guys, welcome back to Multichat, where today we are going to talk about a game that's been pretty important in mine and Dan's just like gaming life and career. Would you call it a career? I don't know, just our recreational time. I guess a game that both Tom and Mikey have played a bunch of. And that game is Overwatch, as you can see by the title, probably.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So, let's just start off with, like, I guess our history with it, shall we?
Tom, what was the beta like then?
Yeah. Fill us in.
It was largely the same. I mean, it was very exciting because I remember following it for so long on I think I remember watching previews of it on MMO Champion of all places, because they were like, oh, Blizzard's got a new game coming out, it's a shooter, and I remember thinking, wow, this looks really unique. And they were showing like Hanzo running up a wall and shooting, and
This was also
ability shooter.
Yeah, this was also before all of the Blizzard drama as well. So Blizzard was like a proper...
Oh yeah, quite a bit before.
Yeah, it was a name to be reckoned with, you know? Like, as soon as you heard...
2014, I'd say.
Yeah, Blizzard is making a shooter, everyone was like all ears. We were all excited for it. I was less so excited. I was kind of like it's just a TF2 clone. You know?
I was the exact same.
Yeah. And then... So you played the beta.
It was like the open beta that they ran.
What
like,
characters was even available during the beta?
It was the first
it was
24,
most.
I believe.
Yeah, I just remember picking up Junkrat and really like loving it, and just like going through King's Row, and it just felt really different. You know, had all the music on, and everything felt like just really cool, and like watching all the play the games, and all the, like, everyone got legendary like vote cards if they got like an ult in their play the game. Everyone was like really hype, and
the community wasn't toxic back then either. Like, the community got toxic very quickly with Overwatch. I think it was especially when ranked became a thing, right? So,
I mean, yeah, I think that's a given. As soon as you get ranked, then people obviously start trying harder and a hell of a lot more.
So I guess that leads to Dan then, who is the second of us to pick up the game.
Yeah, I picked it up on launch day. Back in May to 2016. I want to say it was.
Probably.
And
yeah, around then.
I remember the first character I picked was Hanzo, because I just love the idea of someone with a bow.
Yeah.
And I remember having a great time with it. And then I just spent weeks upon end just messaging Kev and being like, dude, please play it. And he was like, nope.
Not happening.
It's so much fun.
Nope.
But then you did eventually, Kev.
Yeah.
By that season, the 2-3 transition, I think it was. You picked it up?
No, it was like early to mid season 2 that I picked it up. Because we started playing Compet and actually caring about Compet around like the third quarter of season 2.
That was a mistake.
I don't know. I still have like
the caring about it part.
Yeah, the caring about it part was a mistake, but I have a ridiculous amount of hours in Overwatch 1, and it got to a point where we were consistently placing plat diamond.
Yeah.
So we were really into Overwatch 1. We made a load of new friends through Overwatch. Remember, like, Vasily, I think they're the only ones, actually, off the top of my head. But we did actually find, like, other people who were British, and we would always, like, queue with them in Overwatch. It was a lot of fun, and I think the main fun I had from Overwatch 1 was the fact that there was no role queue back then. Because we would all go in, we would be like, alright, I would always play Phil because I wouldn't spend time arguing with whoever, like, oh, I pick soldier first, whatever. It was just... And then if your randomers were doing bad at a DPS role, you would just be like, hey, listen, do you want me to pick up DPS and you can go tank for a while? And it was really nice, and there was actual counterplay and counterpick with that until people started abusing it, and it was like triple tank, and that's kind of where Overwatch started falling off for me,
So I think the big I think that there's a fairly obvious point at which the game really fell off. But Mikey, when did you pick it up?
So I've literally just looked it up. I picked it up when Ash was released, which was apparently November 2018.
Well, it was already going downhill at that point.
Pretty much, from what I remember, yes. And I don't quite remember much about it. I didn't play for very long.
Yeah.
I only played for about a season or so.
Were you solo queuing?
I was, yes. I mean, I followed it for a while beforehand. I used to watch Muselk. I don't know if you know him. He did a lot of TF2 content, and then he obviously switched to Overwatch when that was released. So I watched him for a couple of years. And I was like, I was originally a really diehard TF2 cloner.
Yeah.
But once the game had been out for about a year or so, I was like, okay, it is quite a bit different.
Yeah.
And so I went to go pick it up, and I mean, I enjoyed it. It was something. I had a lot of fun with it, because I was just coming off the TF2. I'd put like 1,500 hours into TF2 over like a year or like a summer. And then, so I picked it up, and I was like, oh, this is actually quite different, because, you got your different heroes have got different abilities. And so you can kind of mess around with different abilities and stuff.
And I do have to say, like, all of the cinematics were amazing for it. Like, there was so much hype behind it.
Oh, God,
the comics, the cinematics, like, even the stills. Like, I have a lot of fond memories with Overwatch 1, and I state that specifically because Overwatch 2 is a thing, and we should really talk about this because I think it's absolute hot garbage. I think it's they should have never made it a 5-man team. Like, role queue is just not working out. I have a lot more fun on open queue. The only times I have played Overwatch 2, honestly, I didn't stick around for that long. Maybe a couple of seasons, but
we did 4. I think we did 4, Kev.
We did 4 seasons, and it was terrible from season 1. Like, from even the announcement of the game, it was just bad. I mean, like, Mikey, you still play it. I don't know why.
I do still play it. I have definitely fallen off. I jump in for like 2 games every couple of days.
By yourself?
And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's enough, and then leave. Yes. So why have you got to confirm this, man?
No, I just think it's a very different game. Like in Overwatch 1, when we played with a 6-man.
Yeah.
Although back then it was really annoying because if you played as a 6-man, it showed like enemy teams could see how many of you were grouped with how many people.
It shows who's stacked.
If you were a 6-man, 9 times out of 10 you appeared with a 6-man.
Yeah.
And the 6-man was maybe like 3 or 4 competent players, and then just some people that were free. But I feel like we're always up against like, what were they called, Cloud9? That's that sort of thing.
No, C9 was the whole meme that it's all about backcapping, and like that's
become the thing now.
You win the team fight, and you should win the round, and you completely forget about.
Isn't that because the actual players in that team did it? Isn't that what it's called?
It is, yeah.
But it's okay. I have a lot to rant about Overwatch 2. I might as well get it out of the way. Please stop me if you have a counterpoint.
Kev, start with the earlier bit, because
what earlier bit?
I think we all agree it's the release of Orisa where
the downfall of Overwatch 1.
Okay, downfall of Overwatch 1 was the GOATS meta. So it's the GOATS meta, right? And the GOATS meta is all about basically triple shield, isn't it? It was just shield, and then having an Ana and a soldier. It was something to do with that. So that's why they kind of forced role queue to become a thing, because everyone was going I think it was always Orisa because she had the static shield at that point. You always had a Rhine. I believe you always had an Anna, and the last support would have been either Lucio or Zenny, because Discord is disgustingly broke when you have a competent team. And then your only DPS would be Soldier, because he has a heal. He was hit scan with no recoil in Overwatch 1, and he has a heal that can sustain himself whilst the two healers are focusing on the tanks. And then
I thought Brigitte was pretty important to the Goats.
I mean, Brig was massive with Goats.
Brig was also really
because
powerful.
Her shield was nuts back then.
Yeah.
Brigitte needed a lot of changes. She's probably one of the most changed heroes in terms of balance.
Simi, dude.
Yeah, symmetric.
Simi, one like both hands. I don't know
what's the shield going around with the shield meta. Was that as well?
No. This was when they changed. I think Simi got pushed into the support characters, so everyone was like, "All right, Simi's dead," because there was no reason to play Sim at that point, because you needed the 2 heals if you're gonna have 3 tanks. But yeah, it was Simi was the most changed. She started off with like a laser that latched onto people with 6 turrets and only a teleporter as her ulti. She had the flying saucer as her E at one point, which I actually miss. Yeah. I really miss that. And then like they got rid of the flying saucer. They've got teleport on E now. Shield gen was your ulti.
Do you remember her auto lock beam?
Yeah, that's what I meant, dude. The latches on
weirdly being that follows everyone.
Yeah, that was brutal.
It was so broke, dude.
And it would swap targets but stay on full charge.
Yeah,
it was pretty silly. I don't mean the actual changing of how the abilities function. I mean just break like the balancing more than anything.
She's had the most.
Her kits stays the same, but they've had to like lower her healing, lower her damage.
Yeah, dude, it's because she could like 1v4 people. When she first came out, her healing was so broke. She would just keep herself alive.
It's because of
it was so much fun.
I think Inspire, which is her passive, where if she does damage, then she gets like an aura of healing. I think that's stacked, if I remember. So you'd run into a group of like Tom said, 4.
Yeah.
And you'd get 4 times the healing passive or something.
Oh, apparently Goats was Zenny, Diva, Reinhardt, Brig, Lucio, and Zarya.
I thought so. Because Goats was a lot of Goats was a lot of rush. It was the shield counter, if I remember.
Oh wow.
The triple shield counter.
Okay, I was completely wrong. When I played and I like dropped out of meta, it's because everyone was playing shields and it was really boring to play against. Because every single game it would be like, right, Dan, get on Junkrat so we can break the shields, and then it was just because that's when I picked up Reaper as well. I picked up Reaper to counter all of the shields because I could break it easily with my shotgun handguns, or I could just get behind the Rhine shield and mess him up. But yeah,
I remember you being unhappy that you felt forced into a character.
Yeah, because
based on what they were doing. Yeah.
Well, I would. At the end of Overwatch 1, the only 2 characters I played was Winston or Reaper. And it was either to counter the shields or it was to focus the healers. And it just got rid of all of the counterplay that was in like early days Overwatch, where they have a Widow, quick switch to like Diva or Winston. Oh, they've switched to Reaper. Okay, I gotta switch to still Diva or Reinhardt or like Zarya or something. There was a lot more fluidity in the early days of Overwatch, and coming off of like Overwatch 1 kind of dying, Overwatch 2 came out, and that was doomed from the start, because like if you're 5v5, that means what are you going to do with a dive tank? You're not protecting any of your teammates, your backlines, because you're trying to dive their support, so your supports are getting ganked. And
then you have the issue with the Overwatch 2 metas is you have to all focus on one playstyle. If you're going to go dive with Winston, all of your supports also have to go dive. All
Yeah.
of your DPS also have, so they all have to follow you into the dive. Like, so it becomes hard dive where everyone's diving.
Yeah, and then you lose one fight, and you're like, well, I guess this comp isn't working, so you switch.
Yeah.
And then everyone has to switch as well. It's just, I don't know. It just made tanking a worse job.
Oh yeah, tank has always struggled in Overwatch 2 because there's only one and everyone just focuses the tank.
Yeah, because like in Overwatch 1, at least when you're tanking, like Dan played a lot of Rhine back in Overwatch 1. I knew that I could dive the enemy team as Winston, because I knew that Dan was protecting our team as Reinhardt. That was like one character diving. That doesn't change the game that much, but if you get one pick, that changes the game a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's really good. It's so satisfying. Why is Overwatch 2 5v5s?
It also leads to a lot more counterplay as well, because there were just some, like, obviously still tanks. I mean, it all just comes back to tanks. If they say Dan picked it up and went Ryan, well, Ryan's hard counter is Ramatra, who's one of the new tanks, who literally just punches through the shield.
I mained Ramatra just because he was so OP.
Yeah, and so literally everyone just counters the tank these days. So if Dan went Ryan, it would be Ramatra was the tank, it would be Bastion, it would be
Junkrat, something like that.
Yeah, Junkrat. So you'd have 2 DPS also countering. They'd probably go Anna for a sleep on a charge. So everyone just these days just counters the tank and then just leaves it at that.
Like, I think especially the introduction of Sojourn, that like broke the game.
Oh god,
she is stupid powerful, and was she like season 1 or 2?
I believe she was season. I want to say season 2. Yeah.
Yeah, because and then Kiriko was season 1.
They didn't fix her until like season 4 or something. And now they've slowly been bringing her back.
I'm just looking at the roster right now. Okay.
Go on.
Right, say Dan wants to play Reinhardt because that's his favorite character. The charges are satisfying. I get it. The double fire strike he actually needed, especially with the one tank nerf. All right, so tanks that can counter Reinhardt, I would say Doomfist, Junker Queen, Orisa, Ramatra, another Rhine, why not? Sigma, Winston, maybe, Wrecking Ball, yes.
Sigma less so.
I don't know, being able to...
Mauga will probably shred his shield in seconds.
Yeah, and plus, you can throw rocks that messes up the shield. Your orbs, you can range it so they explode above the shield, so it just damages Reinhardt anyway, and it deals damage to the shield at the same time. And then Zarya is just a good pick. So all tanks counter basically Reinhardt, except for Roadhog.
Ryan is kind of the punching bag. I don't think, off the top of my head, for the entirety of Overwatch 2, since release, he has gotten a buff. And so he's just the tank that's just been left behind while everyone else is...
But I think he's one of the most fun tanks to play.
He is so fun to play, yeah.
So why are they bending over one of the most fun characters to play and leaving him in the dirt? Like,
I do wonder how some heroes would have been designed in the modern day with all the ability bloat and all that. Because you look at kits like Junkrat and like Soldier, they're very basic. Soldier's got a sprint and a right click and a heal.
Yeah.
But then Sojourn is probably what Soldier would have been if Soldier was introduced as a modern character.
She has a slide and then an extended jump. She has a freaking laser beam for no reason. She has a disruptor grenade. Why does she have so much kit? There's no reason for her to have
every single character
much.
they've brought out so far, just has so much kit. And it's also, they just love giving new characters insane mobility. Like that's been the thing on every character that they've released so far. It's all about mobility.
Like
they people want them to stop giving just mobility.
I thought that Orissa's changes was actually really good because like her not being a fortress and just being a survivable tank made sense to me. Right?
Yeah, it was a really good change, but then they made her too survivable.
Yeah.
Where she just didn't die because when she went golden, she had, I think when they first brought it out, she had like 50. Yeah, I think it was 50%. It's gone up, so they brought it back down to like 30, but then they've been slowly bringing it back up, and it's at like 45% right now.
Yeah, well, it was also like early days Overwatch 2. People didn't know to just focus tanks. So the 50% people thought was really OP when it's not actually that OP when you have like 5 people focusing an Orisa taking her down, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You have to think about it that way. But
every hero seems overpowered when they're just released.
Yeah.
Well, it's the hero fantasy.
Lifewatcher,
Lifeweaver is the exception to that. He was trash.
Everyone thought he was trash on release, but then Dan picked him up, and I was like, Dan, this ain't a good idea. He's like low tier, and then Dan was doing some plays. He was. I
really enjoyed him.
But yeah, just like all of this, and for some reason I stuck around for 4 seasons.
I can tell it's not for some reason, Kev. We played the first 3 thinking it would get better.
Oh yeah.
And then we did a thing that I wish we had never done, which was bought the battle pass for season 4.
Dude, I can't help it though.
And then we just we felt obligated to play until we got back up to level 80.
Overwatch,
and then we both uninstalled the game.
Dude, Overwatch has some of the best cosmetics in like video game history, right? I will stand by that. The cosmetics are so good for Overwatch because they overwork their artists.
Yes.
Anyway, like, okay, so we did play 4 seasons, and every single season we didn't have fun. It was just trash every single season, right?
Even the wins just weren't enjoyable.
No, every single win, it was like very unsatisfactory. We just like expected to win every time. But apparently, recently, everyone's been saying Overwatch 2 is finally good.
Well, good is probably pushing it. You still don't get any satisfaction by winning and stuff. And you kind of just go, okay, that was a game. Next game. But yes, it is. We've just gone into season 9. It's only just now.
Yeah, it took 9 seasons to
decent
get good.
The changes they've made then, Mikey? Why is it better now?
The issue we've been having the past few seasons was just everyone was just doing too much damage. And then this season, I mean, they kind of hot fixed it. They kind of instead of bringing everyone's damage down, they've brought everyone's health up. Which is a very weird way of fixing it. So everyone, I think, tanks got an average between 75 and 100 extra health. DPS got around 50 extra health, give or take some. And supports got also probably about 50 extra health. And so everyone's still doing an insane amount of damage. But they've just brought the health up a bit.
It's just like a plaster.
Mikey, you don't play healer though. So what I was noticing yesterday is that everyone's doing the same damage. Everyone's got more health, which means I was having to heal bot a lot more to keep the bigger health pool full, which reduced my effectiveness.
Yeah, they haven't brought the healings up as well, so they still do the same amount of healing.
Whoa.
More. I had to keep heal botting more. So
well, actually, I don't mind that so much because surely that just means that healers get or support characters, they get their ultimates quicker. Because if you have more to heal and you're healing
let me get the patch notes up. I think they increased everyone's ultimate requirements by 10% to offset the health or something. Let me have a look.
It feels like everything they're doing is like trying to fix all of the decisions they've made that made it bad, but they don't want to revert all of the actual decisions, so they're puking on a pile of dung at the moment is the best way for me to describe it.
Feels like a lot of heart went out of it when
Kaplan left.
Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah.
I remember this little, like video things he used to do, and I was really excited to watch him.
Hi guys, Jeff from the Overwatch team here.
Yeah.
He was always really excited.
He left. Didn't he leave because PvP was canned?
Probably. Oh my god, that's another thing.
Just before the announcement, obviously that would have happened.
Bro, that's another thing about Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how trash tier the goddamn the campaign was?
Oh, the deals.
You needed to pay 18 quid each. 18 quid each.
I remember we picked it up and did a stream on it. And we didn't enjoy it.
3 campaigns. Oh my god, I can't speak. I'm so angry.
You are complaining.
3 campaigns, okay? One of them was just like 3 rooms you go into. And, sorry, there's a couple of corridors you got to walk past, but they were all really boring. Wave here, kill these robots, and then move on. We didn't get all of these cool, like, skill trees that they were talking about.
I was so looking forward. I think everyone was looking forward to that.
The second campaign, it was just a wave defense with a boat. Thanks for that, Blizzard.
A broken boat.
A broken boat that the boss could get into.
A third campaign was an escort mission with a turret that didn't really fire that well. Just, what were you thinking? 18 quid each? What were you thinking, Blizzard? And they were like, oh, this is the PvE everyone asking for. No! We didn't ask for a PvP.
No, it wasn't PvE.
We didn't ask for a PvE. You promised a really good one. For free.
It's not the same as what we had before. Do you remember...
It was
Overwatch 1 when we had the
archive
the
events.
old. Yeah, it was same as it was exactly like archive.
Except weren't they free?
They were free. Because they actually cared about Overwatch back then. Bro.
I'll always be a bit puzzled on. Well, I'm not puzzled by it. I get the business. I get the business move of it and why they replaced Overwatch 1 with 2. Because I guess they must have known when they were launching it, if we keep the first one out, that everyone's going to keep playing that. Like if we put Overwatch 2 out now, our player base won't migrate over. And I get why they had to move away from loot boxes, even though Kev, I think, funded about 100 grand's worth of those.
Hey, not that much. I would say I blew about a couple of hundred on loot boxes at the end.
But like, I get why they made some of the changes. I'm yet to really understand the move from 6 to 5. I think they said it made the games faster or something. But I just found that, especially with those new maps where you had to it's like tug of war, isn't it? Where you got to push the robot in one direction.
Oh.
Do you find that you're either getting completely stomped or you're winning ridiculously easy? You very rarely have the middle ground.
Yes.
And if you stomp, it's not satisfying because you're like, okay, they were just terrible. And if you can't do anything, you're like, this is out of my skill tier. Like, what the hell?
So this is one main reason why Overwatch 2 was doomed from the start for me, alright? The new game mode, the push and bot, that was absolute garbage. I hate that game mode. Wholeheartedly hate it. And then, they came out and they were like, oh yeah, our randomizer was a bit wrong and it did push these 2 maps a bit more than the others. It was like, no wonder everyone's having a bad time because we're getting the push to robot 80% of our matches. Anyway, it doesn't help that because Overwatch 2 was in such a bad state in the server-wise and the game-wise when it first came out, we played ranked and we placed in bronze 5. because the servers was broken and it was forcing everyone to place in bronze. That was an actual thing.
That.
Sorry.
And we won almost all of the place. I think we won 9 out of 10 placement games.
Damn, we won all of
And then
them.
placed. Is it all of them? Yeah, yeah.
And then
we placed bronze 5.
Yeah, both of us placed bronze 5. A diamond player, a borderline diamond player, right? Place in bronze, and then because of that, we've been stuck in the silver gold tier because we've been matched with like bronze and silver teammates who don't know what the game is. Like, it hurts my head. It just hurts my head. Surely something's wrong there. Like, even if we like got stacked as a 5 stack and we knowingly had gold plat players or diamond players, because so many people were hit by that weird ranking system, we're also playing plat and diamonds in silver. What is going on with this game? And like, you would know who's an actual silver by their playstyle, and you would know who's an actual silver or who's a silver but they're actually a plat, diamond, whatever, because of the server issues by their playstyle. Like, I don't know how they released the game at such a buggy state. And then there's the short that Tom made from our stream, Dan, where we tried to join a goddamn comp game and it just wouldn't join and we got a lever penalty.
Yes,
I made that.
I think Dan made that.
Oh, Dan
Yeah, I
made
made
that. Honestly, what is the state of Blizzard in general? Not just Overwatch, right? Like,
well, yeah.
Overwatch 2, yes, it has its issues, but compared to all of the other Blizzard titles, it's like, it's expected at this point. What happened?
Yeah, we're at the point now where we're just thinking, how are we going to be shafted next? I think another thing we've not touched on with Overwatch 2 is that it got released as a free-to-play game. So if you're, if you're banning some sort of hacker or something, they just make another account.
Yeah, but
Straight back in without spending the money.
I mean, Blizzard was pretty good at banning IPs instead of like
To be fair, I haven't seen a hacker in a fair while.
That's another reason why I stopped playing Overwatch 2, actually. The amount of like soldier hackers, because every single game we went into, a soldier just had a bot that had no recoil. There was absolutely no like gun lift on a soldier spray. It was like, all right, there's another soldier. I guess he's gonna have a bot. Oh wait, yeah, he has a bot for no recoil. Like,
Yeah, it takes the wind out of your sails if you're watching back gameplay to see if someone cheated. Which I felt like we were doing a lot of the time.
After every single game, we were like,
Yeah.
right, let's quickly look back, like hit the replay button, watch this guy to make sure we're actually reporting him for a good cause. Because like,
That's
man,
one function in Overwatch that I'm really impressed with, how easy it is to go back, watch a whole game from every perspective, including a free camera.
yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
But
And
is
to be
it
fair,
enough to
you
bring
do
it
get
back?
that little message, however many days later, where it's like you successfully got someone kicked, which is always quite nice.
Was that, oh, fun.
Yeah.
Good for me. I'm glad I had to do the work for you, Blizzard.
But Kev, you also touched on the toxicity, and I was thinking about it. Like in Overwatch 2, in Overwatch 1, we were always in team chat. Always. And
always
you'd have some
in
really
team chat.
good conversations with people, trying to sort of tactically work together. In the second one, it's just like an 8-year-old screaming at you.
Every single time. It's just... And because you can't see them as a party stack now, if you get in an argument with one, another 2 people will join that argument, and they'll be like, oh no, you're the issue, antic Kev. And it's like, oh well, I can tell you guys are stacked then. And they're like, oh no, we're not. It's like, what do you mean? Like, it's so obvious. Oh.
I think at some point, Kev, we should... I know we said we would never install it again, but we should, just for giggles, see... let Mikey play with some friends.
On it.
I'm gonna have a bad time.
That as well, yeah.
I'm only gonna have a bad time.
What would need to change then, Kev? What would Overwatch have to do to get you back?
Add the tank back in for 6v6.
Mm-hmm.
Just honestly, so all of the OP characters. Who's the OP characters at the moment, Mikey?
God.
What's that new Hawaiian dude like?
Oh,
Is he
he
ridiculous?
was very good, but then they nerfed him pretty hard.
All right. S tier is currently Tracer,
Go
which
on.
is fine because she is
Yeah, that's fine.
she is a very high skill character. I'm alright with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zenny and Lucio, you
Oh,
can't.
Zen.
Yeah,
Yeah, Zen
you-
Discord. I mean, it's still insane. It's
You
still
can't really
nuts.
help that because, like, you know, they've been the meta for a while. Since Overwatch 1, really. Wrecking Ball, Sombra, and Sojourn. Okay. Sojourn, get rid of her escape. I don't mind her having a one-shot railgun that's a skill shot. It's the fact that she can leap behind your entire team, focus the healers down, kill one with an entire clip, get your railgun, kill the second healer with a railgun headshot. That's broken.
It does no longer one shot,
It doesn't run shot. Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
but it
Is that because the health went up though?
no they when they nerfed her in like season 4 or whatever, they took away her one shot.
But get rid.
But yeah, she's still nuts.
Yeah,
Her
get
damage
rid-
output is insane still.
Get rid of that escape. She doesn't need that escape. She has a disruptor grenade, which I think is fine, but like that already slows enemies. You can
doesn't.
like shoot it at your feet, run away.
It no longer does.
Okay, bring it back. Bring back the slow because like you can shoot at your feet. It slows the enemies. You can make some distance. All right, that can be her escape if anything.
I do remember yesterday actually dying to Sojourn when she emptied a clip into me, and in my kill cam she immediately turned and killed you with her railgun as well, Mikey. That was just like bam. It was quite instant.
Yeah.
With
What
the
role
tank-
were you, Mikey,
Actually, I
when you
do
played?
remember that.
He
I
was
was
Cassidy.
damage. Yeah, I was Cass. So about 250 health. But I think I had taken some damage.
You were already
but yeah.
low.
Yeah, it was. It still does on a fully charged headshot. It still probably does
Yeah.
about 200.
I'm curious then, because when you pick up roles like damage and support, if your tank is absolute trash, does
That's
that
why
still
you
make
need
the
a
game
second tank.
impossible to
Yeah,
win?
it just kills the game.
Yeah, okay, that's still the
Like
case.
whenever we played Overwatch 2, we needed one of us to play as a tank so we knew we had a competent tank.
Yeah.
Even though like
Yeah.
let's say Dan was healing, that means I have to play tank, which means I wasn't playing DPS, which means that we had a chance of someone being incompetent with a DPS. Like
Yeah,
it
you were
was
always rolling the dice, weren't you?
But if we have two tanks, then that's going to save it instantly.
Actually, I've just got the patch notes here that I've literally just seen. So 150 to 175 HP heroes has been increased by 25 HP. 200 to 300 heroes have got an extra 50, and 300 plus, aka tanks, have got an extra 75 to 100.
Maya 300.
I mean, they have to buff the tanks because they're just one, right? So that the tank needs to be harder to kill.
Yeah.
The tanks,
But-
yeah, always been struggling.
I'd
I
say
still-
weaken Moira, even though Moira is technically... Oh, no, she's A tier.
How have we not talked about Moira? How has that not come up?
They need to weaken Moira because it just incentivizes low-level or low-ranking players and low-level players to do damage as a support when we need the heals. The amount of times, I'm not going to single the person out, we've played with someone, and we're always like, oh, is that another purple orb we see there? When there's like critical health on our entire team. It's like, all right, nerf Moira a bit so like beginners aren't, I guess, encouraged to deal damage as her, even though the amount of times I've been playing support and because our DPS are so trash, I had to go DPS Moira to win us the game. Like, that's not going to be doable. That's completely fine. You shouldn't be able to turn a game with a support hero as DPS. Sorry.
She also has insane survivability where she can. She'll
she has
use
a
her.
phase.
She'll use her fade to get behind you, then she'll be doing DPS Moira things, and then she'll chuck a healing orb on her while she's doing that, and then by the time the healing orb's gone, she has fade back to just get out.
Because it doesn't help that her right click also heals her. But I think that's completely fine. If you nerf her damage, but she still has self-sustain, that's not the worst, right? Doomfist, if a really good Doomfist can win the game. I have played against really good Doomfists, and we've been like, I guess we'll die, right? Like, but
yeah, you feel like you have to have a Sombra, don't you?
Yeah, if you have a good Doomfist, if you're playing against a good Doomfist, you kind of need to focus on countering them.
But that's where the counter picks come from, and I'm all right with that. If a person is a one-trick Doomfist and you counter that, and then they trash at another character, I'm all right with that, you know? What Wrecking Ball is apparently S tier.
I don't see that.
I've never played a good Wrecking Ball, so
I don't think I have it. I've played against a couple previously, but yeah, I don't see him being S tier.
Another thing to bring me back, Dan. Don't lock new characters in the battle pass. What are you thinking?
I think they did put on a recent blog post that they might be stopping doing that, but I can't confirm.
Might be. Definitely should.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just like some of the levels are just like really trash, and it all becomes bottlenecks, right? Like you think about what's that Royale map where you have to push that? It's a payload map, and you get to that weird like corkscrew. You know what I mean?
Oh, where it goes up and then up again.
Yeah.
I believe that's Circuit Royale.
Circuit Royale.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's always that bottleneck right at the end of the map on point 3. Get rid of these bottlenecks. Like, what are you? What's the point in that?
I have an analogy for that.
Yes.
I was in a comp game because they reset ranks and I was doing my placements again. And yeah, we pushed all the way to that third choke point. And we probably had about 5, 6, 7 minutes on the timer, and we could not get through that.
Exactly.
We ended up losing the game because we could not push through that choke point.
Like, it just ends up being, okay, let's wait until our ultimates, and then by the time you have your ultimates, the enemies have their ultimates, and then they'll wait for you to use your ults because they don't need to push.
Stall characters, don't you? You grab like May and Bastion and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't there a push after that as well?
No, that's the last.
No, that's the last on the last thing.
I would like to see 2CP back. I actually miss Voskaya Industries and Hanamura. But the way I would fix that is to add a third point, whether that's like before or after. Hanamura, you can add it before, that's fine. Voskaya Industries, probably add it before as well. But I love Voskaya... Oh my god, words. I love the Industries map because the first point, there was 3 routes of attack. There was the main choke, there was the little hole at the main choke, and then you could just go around as Pharah and Mercy, and Diva, and Winston, and Lucio. Oh my god. And Tracer, and Symmetra. Like, it was a well-designed map. A new Temple of Anubis as well, right? That all fell down to the first choke.
Yes.
And that was an issue because there was no other way. Same as Blizzard World, that also had like 1 choke at the beginning, but you still had a back way through. So just redesign the maps a little to make it less of a chokehold. You know?
I don't understand about them removing 2CP. Is they removed 2CP because
it was too quick.
Yeah, it was too quick, and it was because of the six player teams where you just like the Volskaya, like if you had double, triple shields, whatever, you just sit in that little corner that's on the first point. You'd sit in that little room, and so they took away 2CP and the 6th player. But they could bring one of those back, and those maps would be good again.
Yeah, and this oh, okay. Explain to me this. Try and solve this riddle, boys. We took out 2CP because the games are quick. Oh, we're doing it 5v5 to make the games quicker. Blizzard, are you good? Like, what's going on with your logic there?
I think at this point I'd need like an Overwatch 3 to get to think about going back to it, and it'd have to be a completely sort of redesigned game.
And also, another thing to bring me back to Overwatch in general is fixing the ranking system. Like, I remember in the old ranking system, you lost more points if you didn't do well. I don't know how they solved that.
Well, if you'd win a game and go up like 25, and then you'd lose like 80.
Yeah.
Oh.
What they've done is actually this season again, they've basically brought it back to the old ranking system where they got away with that you only rank every 5 matches, which was stupid from the beginning. They've brought back your rank changes every match. They've brought back, I don't know if it was an actual thing in Overwatch 1 because I didn't play ranks, but they brought in like a little progress bar. You can actually see how close you are to ranking up.
Yeah, that was in Overwatch 1.
Yeah,
nice.
And you could see how much it goes up and why. Like if you're on a win streak.
Do you want to know how the Overwatch 2 ranking actually worked? It was exactly the same as
Overwatch it was 1. Hidden MMR.
Yeah, but it was all hidden. And then after your 5 wins, that's when it would like say, oh, this is where you had it at 20 after 5 wins. So you could have been on like 2499 and not hit the like plat level because you were 1 point away or something. And then like obviously everyone would be like, oh, well, I'm still gold. Like, why do I even bother? And then like you'd just be demotivated to play the next game. When if you kept it as Overwatch 1, you'd be like, oh, I'm just 1 win away, right? Like, it's a completely different mindset.
So yeah, they've basically gone back to the Overwatch 1 route of ranks.
I like that change.
They also brought in a new rank right at the top called like Champion or something, but I mean, that's just for the best people.
After Grandmasters?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you've
Champion doesn't have that good a
Bronze, Silver, Gold, Plat, Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, now Champion, and then Top 500.
I mean, Champion's just after Rookie before Ultimate, so...
Like, I don't know. A lot needs to be done for me to come back to Overwatch 2. It's, like... And it's really upsetting as well, because when Overwatch 1 was at its peak, which was like Season 2, 3, 4, 5, and yeah, those 3 seasons were a lot of fun. So much fun. And like the amount of extra content they were bringing out with all of the events and stuff, they were really good. But now it feels like they're just doing the least amount of work to get by, and that's just really upsetting for me, right?
I mean, that was kind of just shown with the bloody PvE.
Yeah,
you know, they cancelled PvE and everyone was in uproar. And they were like, "Oh, we need something to to appease them," and then they did bare minimum, and it wasn't good.
And they charged us for it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the final straw in terms of me wanting to keep the game installed on my PC.
Yeah.
I felt so burned after that. I was like, wow.
No.
Like, you don't value my time at all. And we put, like, when Overwatch 1, we were playing like 5 nights a week until like 3, 4 a.m.
I'm literally launching Battle now.
But enjoying ourselves, like having a good time. And that just never happened with Overwatch 2.
So, has anyone played Gigantic? Because I saw some recommended threads on Reddit popping up, being like, "Oh, Gigantic might be coming back," and everyone's really hyped for it, and everyone's really excited and saying, "Oh my god, I used to play Gigantic all the time." So apparently, it's like a MOBA hero shooter that was around for a bit and then like disappeared. It's made by Gearbox.
We will check that out.
MOBA hero shooter. Okay. I'll keep an eye on that.
The Overwatch killer, even though Overwatch is the Overwatch killer.
Kill itself, yeah.
Yeah, remember all those WoW killers people were talking about back in the day as well?
So
Like I was like, oh, Rift is going to kill WoW. Or like,
To be honest, I think by this point I'd have more fun with Paladins than I would Overwatch 2.
I would have more fun with Dark Souls than I would have with Overwatch 2.
I think we've covered pretty much the issues with the game. In terms of what happened to it, it was a lot of small steps that just sort of snowballed, really, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then they made no effort to sort of address them as they were happening.
It was like they were aware of the effort. Well, they were aware of the issues, but they just never fixed the issue. They just tried to patch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed. Fingers
this
crossed.
game.
Hopefully, it makes a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah. It's like taking a poop and not flushing, but using Febreze instead to just like hide it, you know?
And on that note,
yeah, that's a good ending point.
yeah, thanks for sticking around.
Thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.